Whoop. Hey guys, I'm Ugly. So, I started recording it live, but it didn't really work. So I'm gonna read this again. At River Oaks Hospital in New Orleans Institute. I'm really fat. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that I'm fat. We had to write narratives about our traumas. So here's the first one that I wrote. In approximately 2014, an MHT named Bob on the 7 East Psychiatric Unit at Overlook Hospital in Summit, New Jersey raped me. It wasn't the first time I was raped at Overlook, but it's the time that I remember most vividly, and the perpetrator that I've identified and filed a police report about. I've spoken to several attorneys in reference to this specific incident and will be filing a civil suit against the hospital once I am discharged. Anyway, so I was raped. I don't remember the actual penetration. Well, I somewhat remember it, as an out-of-body experience from up above. Bob was my one-to-one sitter in the quiet room because I was hospitalized for suicidal ideation. I don't remember the sequence of events in regards to how many times I was in that quiet room with Bob, or one of my other perpetrators. But one of the first times Bob sat beside the quiet room bed in a blue faux leather lounge chair jacking off. I pretended that I was asleep. The time I remember best, when Bob raped me, he wasn't the only one in the room. It was after midnight. You know that song, They're Always on the Night Shift, I Can't Spend Those Nights Alone, Work From Home by Fifth Harmony? For a while, when I was getting ready to file the report against Bob, that was my theme song. I was determined at one point to litigate against all the night shift perpetrators in the various hospitals I've been in. The song is right. It was almost always on the night shift when I and the other patients were raped behind closed doors. I wasn't the only one. Anyway, when Bob was finished, I don't remember if he used a condom this time, but he came in my face. I don't think I could move. I didn't think I could move, but I could that night. They had given me an emergency IM injection of who knows what, but I was told it was different than what I was given the night prior that had ketamine-like effects and paralyzed me in what may have been a K-hole. I don't know for sure, as I've never tried ketamine on the streets. Well, on this particular night I thought, or was pretending to be more drugged up than I actually was. I moaned occasionally to purposely turn him on. I feel guilty, but I kind of liked being raped. He made me orgasm over and over and over. It was like I was having a seizure. The last time that I moaned, he said, "Aren't you done yet?" and proceeded to continue raping me. It was true. I was still sexually aroused. When Bob was finally done, I didn't moan again. He switched off with another male MHT on the unit, one that has sat for me one-to-one in Overlook off and on since approximately 2006. African American dreads. He's the one who laughs as I lay there, half pretending to be intoxicated. But he also told me that I had been drugged with something less powerful that night. This knowledge gave me the power to get up and go into the quiet room bathroom to clean myself up. The quiet room at Overlook was a suite with a private prison-like bathroom, all metal sink and toilet. I was so thirsty but didn't have a cup, so I drank from the sink like a dog. I asked to shower but wasn't allowed to. I felt so dirty. It was on this night that I began struggling with trichotillomania in my pubic area. I sat on that metal toilet crying, trying to focus on grasping and pulling the hairs out. Back up. When Bob was done, he pulled up my pants and slapped my crotch. I orgasmed again. My underwear was blue. They were boy shorts. For a long time after that, I couldn't wear any underwear at all as it made me feel suicidal. I don't remember how I fell asleep, but in the morning my one-to-one was a female I had known for a while at that point. Her name was Shirley, and in the past she had always been kind to me. But that morning she was cold. She at least let me take a shower. Of course her job was to watch me. I remember standing under the shower's faucet spray, desperately using an entire travel-sized bottle of Johnson's baby soap in an attempt to feel clean again. I think I was crying, and Shirley said, in an attempt to be comforting, "The first day is always the hardest." I was raped almost every night during that hospital stay. I remember one night when I was supposed to be allowed to sleep in my regular room, I made the mistake of asking the staff for a snack, as they had run out of the stash in the common area. I was given several packs of purple Nabisco brand oatmeal raisin cookies. All of the hospitals in my area have the same kind. This is when I connected my weight and status within my eating disorder behaviors with being raped, as that night I was made to sleep in the quiet room, and I think I was raped again. At 70 pounds, I was treated with respect. At 130 pounds, my set point, I was raped over and over. Around this time is when I adopted binging behaviors. My outpatient therapist, Gwen, says that I'm addicted to being abused, which is true. The first time I was raped in a hospital was in 1999 at age 12, upon my first admission to a psychiatric unit. That's a whole separate narrative for another day, though. That first rape was when I connected sex with hospitals. I was raped in multiple hospitals by dozens of perpetrators over the years. I've been psychiatrically hospitalized over 100 times and medically about another 100. Usually raped after given drugs of some variety or another, benzos, opiates, whatever. Sometimes on a medical unit, sometimes on a psychiatric unit. Sometimes Velcro restraints were used or leather restraints were used because my orgasms were so violent in the beginning. I've been a victim of rape of various degrees my entire life. But after the age of 19, when my eating disorder got bad and I became underweight, I was safe. But in 2011 or 12, after I was put in palliative care due to the severity of my eating disorder, I was supposed to be put in hospice, but my mom refused. I was prescribed incredibly high doses of fentanyl, oxycodone, morphine, etc. I started gaining weight, and I was put back into a sex ring that from then until 2014, when I got clean off of the opiates, I was raped whenever I was hospitalized. Always on the night shift after midnight, they would take turns. Always after requested or forced IV or IM medication. Thank God for drugs and drug-induced amnesia. They did a rape exam once. I don't really know why. I remember I was paralyzed from injected drugs during the procedure, but I could still cry. One of the nurses in the room subtly squeezed my hand. I don't know her name, but she still works in the ER at Overlook. Last time when I was there, housed psychiatrically, she's the one who got me Diet Coke. She was my one-to-one. A few times over the past year. After the 2014 rape by Bob, I was held in 7 East a few times when Bob was still working there. In approximately 2016, the last time I saw him, I followed him around the unit saying, "Why did you do that to me?" I told 2 other techs what he did to me. One told me that she would protect me. The other one, a male, said that Bob would never do that he was a great guy. And I only told that MHT about the time that I fell in the quiet room after I was given an IM injection of drugs and Bob dragged me with my head between his legs and a white sticky splotch on his crotch back into bed. I never saw Bob after that stay. The last thing I remember about him is when I was following him around the unit and he would tell any staff member that he walked past, "Look, I have a shadow." I convinced myself for a long time that Bob couldn't help raping me. That somehow, by my being prescribed control medications, that there was some invisible force that made him and the others rape me. That somehow they were saving my life. I was told that they had to do it. That because I didn't have sex for so long, about 6 or 7 years, that I had to be raped because I had too much pent-up sexual energy and tension, and it had to be let out or else it would kill me. All the men liked me so much because I was advertised in the sex ring as having been stopped from having consensual sex since the age of 17 when I lost my virginity to my first and only boyfriend. His name was Art. It's too late to criminally prosecute anyone that was or is part of that sex ring or organized crime unit. But there is no statute of limitations to file a civil suit against the hospital, which I plan on doing. I'm not the only victim. I'm far from it. I might be the only one willing and able to come forward, though, which is a large part of why I'm here at River Oaks, to gain the skills necessary to effectively cope with the litigation process. It feels like a dream sometimes, but this is my life. Drugged or not, it happened, and the miracle is that the police believe me too, despite not having any physical evidence. I'm my own evidence. My life is my evidence. But more than that, I'm a survivor, with a long story to tell and an organized crime sex ring of perverts to bring down. I can and I will. Now is the time. At River Oaks, they would have us follow up our narratives with some sort of letter of compassion or wise mind statements. What my therapist, Melissa, had me do was write a list of what a MHT attack should be. So here's my list. What attacks should be. They should have healthy boundaries, be respectful, empathetic, validating, be a healthy role model, intuitive of patient needs, able to respond to crisis, be honest, put the patient first, person-centered care, be non-judgmental, non-threatening, be approachable, flexible, be a good listener, friendly, open-minded, reliable, responsible, responsive to the environment around them, compassionate, understanding, attentive, safe, comforting, balanced, professional, trustworthy, calm, and cool-tempered. So that's my Emerald Red from the anxiety. That was my first narrative that I wrote. Yeah. So that's what I spent the last 5 weeks doing. Maybe in a few days when I'm ready, I'll share the next narrative. That's a 7-page narrative on the time that I was raped when I was 12 years old at Charter Hospital. So for now, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette and do some self-care techniques. Namaste. I feel fat as fuck. Alright, bye.